why heads together and why mental health?
It was your idea.
It was your idea.
It's a common thread, wasn't it? Mental health sort of seemed to run between all the different areas that we were working in. So whether it's homelessness and the military with yourself and addiction with me and bereavement, there was a sort of underlying thread, wasn't there, of mental health. And this idea that, I suppose, all of us coming together to find a common theme and to show people how to have those, what we're calling sort of simple conversations and starting those conversations, which is often the hardest bit, really.
As you said, it's like almost like a form of medicine.
Yeah. But as a young mother actually said that to me at the Anna Forey Centre, she said actually just talking to somebody, having those conversations is like medicine for her. Yeah. And that is the point, is that actually it's okay to have that conversation, even if it is uncomfortable or awkward, but it's just starting it.
But the pressures on children nowadays, I think, are more than they ever were for us as well. I think each generation can say that. You've got so many things to worry about now, whether you're struggling for exams, whether you're struggling with home life, whether you're struggling with friends. Then you have the social media angle. You can understand why, that coupled with the fact that you don't get out of the house because you're staring at a screen the whole time, there's got to be a lot of issues that are going to build from that if you're not careful.
And it's always sold as though everybody else's life is perfect.
Yeah.
That's the problem. And therefore you think everyone else's life is perfect, there must be something wrong with me. If you can have a family environment where you can talk openly about your issues, that makes for a better family, better preparation, probably working better at a job, doing better at school, so it just goes on and on and on.
Because you often speak, don't you, about the emotional changes that sort of even you've gone through. And I think a lot of parents hopefully can, I suppose, identify with that, in that, having a child, particularly your first child, is such a sort of life-changing moment. Nothing can really prepare you for that. Remember the first few days with little George, you have no idea really what you're doing, no matter how many books you read, nothing can prepare you for it.
But there's no rule book, there's no training that teaches you how to do it. You just have to learn from previous generations and hope that you can translate it into what you want to do.
You remember up in Anglesey, so we'd had a couple of weeks of sort of family support, and then you were keen to get back to your work, and I was like, no, I'll come with you, of course, yeah. So we scooted off back to Anglesey with George. Those first few weeks, were
steep learning curve.
A steep learning curve, massively.
When you have children, it really does put your own emotions and your own life into perspective, and it's been very, very interesting understanding, why I get so upset about some things or why some things affect me. I thought I was quite, fairly sort of straight down the line, but I'm actually quite, I feel quite a lot more than I used to.
Do you feel that particularly with the work with the air ambulance?
I feel like I take on a lot of the family cases with me, I take them home, which I find quite hard, and luckily we've got a good support network at work, and just talking about it amongst all of us and being able to, understand the process and hear, good news and bad news, but follow some of these cases through to the end is quite important.
And it's not just the individual, is it? It has such an effect.
Such an effect.
On the rest of the family?
Precisely. Family, friends, everyone that cares about you. So you've got that one individual in the middle. And then no one really, especially with the veterans piece as well, all the focus always seems to be on the individual with the injuries.
Exactly.
If it's physical injuries, then it's supposedly easier because you can see those injuries, where if it's hidden wounds, then no one can see that, but still that person is the focus. But the effect that has on them, their family and their friends is huge because people care about you.
Yeah.
But that is part of the healing process, and it's part of sharing your problems to halve them and to make them better with someone you trust and someone you know is going to help you.
Yeah.
Both of us have always been open to each other, saying, we've never really talked about it. We've never really talked about losing a mum at such a young age. And when you speak to other people's families and little kids and stuff, you think, wow, I don't want them to have to go through the same thing. So you want to, with a little bit of experience, you want to help as much as you can and try and empower them to have that conversation and to be brave enough for themselves to talk about it at a young age rather than bottling it up for far too long.
Considering everything that you boys obviously sadly went through and the trauma that you experienced, I do, particularly with the work within early intervention and things like that I've been doing in the early years, I do think it's incredible how strong and how you've been able to cope, really. And I put that down to your really early years, childhood experience. But also the relationship that you've got. You're amazingly close. Yeah. And yes,
Most of the time.
Most of the time. No, but and some families sadly aren't as lucky as you guys have been, and being able to share things.
But we have been brought closer because of the circumstances as well. That's the thing.
Yeah.
You are, uniquely bonded because of what we've been through.
Yeah.
But even Harry and I, over the years, have not talked enough about our mother. We've
enough. Has doing this campaign sort of made you realise that? To a certain extent?
I think so. I always thought to myself, you know, what's the point in bringing up the past? What's the point in bringing up something that's only going to make you sad? It ain't going to change it. It ain't going to bring her back. And when you start thinking like that, it can be really damaging. And you always said to me, you said, you know, you've got to sit down and think about those memories. But for me, it was like, don't want to think about it.
Yeah. But it's, I think, what must happen with us and must happen with others as well is that you have to prioritise your mental health. Yeah. You have to say to yourself at some point, because it's very easy to run away from it, you know, to walk away from it and avoid it the whole time. You know, someone has to take the lead and has to be brave enough to force that conversation.
This coming Sunday, the London Marathon is to some people a year in the making. I mean, this is their opportunity to put closure on an issue. This is their opportunity to be part of something amazing, and it's just really exciting for all of us to be part of it. I think 30-odd thousand people coming together. You know, 300 and now 700 runners for specifically heads together. Everybody in the marathon being given a headband. Yeah. People running for just all sorts of different reasons. But as you guys have clearly pointed out over and over again, you could draw 150 charities that everybody's running for around in a circle, and in the middle will be mental health. It's the one thing that binds everything together.
Yeah. And so many of the runners that we've met have been so energised, haven't they, by others having sort of these conversations around them, but also feeling like they're part of this change and this sort of progression towards sort of, I suppose, a more open society, really.
Mental health marathon.
Thank you for watching this video. If you have enjoyed it, then please leave a like, comment and share on social media. Don't forget to subscribe for all the latest royal uploads. From me in Shropshire, goodbye.